contact with your readers can be. I do not know if you're aware of it, but fan sites are springing up all over the internet, and we receive tons of mail daily for you, which will be boxed and forwarded to you separate from this letter. I have mentioned the requests for a book signing tour in previous letters, but should tell you that those requests are now reaching unmanageable proportions. It seems almost every bookstore around the world would love to have you visit and are sure the signing would be a major success. While you could not possibly hit every store, we think that one store in every major city would be manageable. I would also like to urge you to consider giving an interview or two, and am including the letters we have received from various publications regarding this. As you will notice, these requests come from more than just romance publications. Your popularity has gone mainstream, as is reflected by the fact that various newspapers and literary magazines are also requesting interviews. We have even had interest from a couple of the morning news shows. While the news shows would have to be in person, the newspaper and magazine interviews need not be. They could be managed either over the phone or even the internet if you are on it. Are you on the internet? If so, I would also like your email address and would encourage you to get Windows Messenger or something similar so that I could speak to you in such a way. Several of my writers have Messenger, and we find it quite convenient and much quicker than normal mail. There is much more I would like to discuss with you. Please remember to phone this office as soon as possible, collect if necessary. Again, I am sending this letter overnight express. Sincerely, Kate C. Lever, Editor, Roundhouse Publishing Company, Incorporated, New York, New York.
August 1st. Dear Ms. Lever, no. Sincerely, Lucern Argeneau, Toronto, Ontario.
Chapter 1. Thursday, September 11th. Rachel swears she never wants to see another coffin as long as she lives. Lucern grunted at his mother's comment as he and his younger brother Bastien set the coffin down on the basement floor. He knew all about his soon-to-be sister-in-law's new aversion. Etienne had explained everything. That was why he was storing the thing. Etienne was willing to move it out of the mansion to keep his fiancée happy, but for sentimental reasons, he couldn't bring himself to permanently part with it. The man swore he came up with his best ideas lying inside its silent darkness. He was a bit eccentric. He was the only person Lucern could think of who would bring a coffin to his own wedding rehearsal. The minister had been horrified when he'd caught the three brothers transferring it from Etienne's pickup to Bastien's van.
Thank you for driving it over here, Bastien,
Lucern said as he straightened. Bastien shrugged.
You could hardly fit it in your BMW. Besides, he added as they started back up the stairs, I would rather transport it than store it. My housekeeper would have fits.
Lucern merely smiled. He no longer had a housekeeper to worry about, and the cleaning company he'd hired to drop in once a week only worked on the main floor. Their seeing the coffin wasn't a concern.
Is everything in place for the wedding?
He asked as he followed his mother and Bastien into the kitchen. He turned out the basement lights and closed the door behind him, but didn't bother turning any other lights on. The weak illumination from the nightlight plugged into the stove was enough to navigate to the front door. Yes, finally. Marguerite Argeneau sounded relieved. And despite Mrs. Garrett's worries that the wedding was too rushed and that Rachel's family wouldn't have time to arrange to be there, they're all coming.
How large is the family?
Lucern was sincerely hoping there weren't as many Garretts as there had been Hewitts at Lysiana's wedding. The wedding of his sister to Gregory Hewitt had been a nightmare. The man had a huge family, the majority of which seemed to be female. Single females who eyed Lucern, Etienne, and Bastien as if they were the main course of a one-course meal. Lucern disliked aggressive women. He'd been born and raised in a time when men were the aggressors and women